want you to hear Oscar De La Hoya earlier this morning on Mike and Mike. Take a listen.
I think Saturday night was a fraud. I think I just feel that boxing and the UFC, it's two different sports. I mean, look, just because one is playing with a basketball is not going to go out there and throw a football. It's just two different sports. I just thought it was a fraud.
Max, you know De La Hoya. What's your reaction to what he said?
Oscar De La Hoya is a great champion. Great champion. When he got a hold of his own career, he didn't duck anyone, because that kind of stuff, legacy, honor, and all that stuff, means something to him. Not to all fighters, but to De La Hoya it did. In fact, Floyd Mayweather will be remembered as a better fighter than De La Hoya, and he was, but marginally better. Partly because Floyd was very selective with who he fought and when he fought them, and Oscar was just like, once he became his own promoter, I'll fight everybody, line them up in their primes. So when you do that, you have some losses. In fact, De La Hoya, at the end of his career, and Mayweather in his prime, Floyd beat him, but it was competitive. Oscar De La Hoya, a great fighter, and I understand that these kind of issues mean things to him. To take it seriously, to take on the best, to not to make anything, just spectacle, but always an athletic competition. But I'll tell you something. That notwithstanding, I don't think Oscar should be downing someone else's promotion. And Dana White has made this point, and I agree with him. Dana, by the way, is all for Canelo and Triple G, as everyone in the fight game is, all fight games. I want to see this great fight. And Oscar has such a great product coming up September 16th in Vegas, Triple G and Canelo, that I think we should be focusing, and he should be focusing, on his great product and not downing someone else's event, which, by the way, turned out to be the best possible version that event could have been.
Well, listen, I definitely think that Oscar should not be downing somebody else's event, especially since all indications point to him. If he were able to get that kind of deal himself, he would have done it. This is what made Oscar De La Hoya great. He'd step out of the box and he did things that very, very few people, very, very few fighters were able to do and would even think of doing. So if he had an opportunity to have Canelo in there with McGregor and make the kind of money that Mayweather and McGregor are anticipating that they are expected to make, rather, Oscar De La Hoya would have done it as well. So I definitely agree with you that he shouldn't be downing somebody else's promotion. But I also respect the hell out of Oscar from this perspective. This is a guy that did essentially what Mayweather did before Mayweather did it. Mayweather did it better, generated more revenue, higher pay-per-view sales, et cetera, et cetera. But Golden Boy, before he was a promoter, he was a fighter. And then he transitioned to promotions and did so quite successfully. And as far as I'm concerned, contributed a lot to uplifting the sport of boxing, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. If you take that into consideration, and as a boxer, he has a problem with a champion the caliber of Mayweather giving somebody who's never fought professionally an opportunity to step into the ring with him, even though I can appreciate where Mayweather's coming from in terms of the money and everything else that it generated. I can also appreciate Oscar De La Hoya's position as a boxing purist.
You made a great point, Stephen A., about Oscar the promoter. He blazed a trail that's very important. He took control of his own destiny and as a fighter, became a promoter. I love what he did, and he's very successful. I have a lot of admiration for Oscar. But who exactly was harmed in the Mayweather-McGregor spectacle, event, fight, whatever he wants to call it? Everyone seemed to have a good time. McGregor was vindicated because for his pro debut, he wouldn't have hardly done any better. Floyd won. But no one got hurt. And furthermore, no one was denied an opportunity. It's not like Floyd was going to fight someone else and fought McGregor instead. So I don't understand who was harmed by this.
But you're missing a point, Max. He said it before the fight. In other words, his position has been consistent.
Yeah.
That's why I brought up the fact that he may have a problem with the fact that somebody as great as Mayweather, who was 49-0, is going for 50-0 against somebody that never boxed before. He said that before the fight.
I got you.
So his position is consistent.
But when new evidence emerges, I was with him. It's not a competitive sporting event, and it really wasn't. I mean, Floyd gave him 3 rounds to punch himself out a little bit and then just did what he wanted. But I didn't think McGregor was going to be that good. I don't think anyone did. I mean, MMA fans who were out of their minds were saying McGregor was going to knock Floyd out. It's absurd. But, McGregor acquitted himself quite well. So here, Oscar,
but if you're
here's
Oscar,
some
you have
new
a right
information.
to feel otherwise.
It changed my mind because you have to react to reality.
But he doesn't have to react to reality because that's not his reality. His reality is that that individual should have never had the opportunity to be in the ring with Floyd. There's a principled position because when you're a champion, particularly that great, somebody shouldn't be allowed to get a shot at you. It doesn't matter how they look. They should not have bypassed the process. I understand where he's coming from with that. I don't agree totally with everything that he said, but I do understand his principled position, and I respect it.
And Pete Rademacher, who I brought up, who was an Olympic gold medalist. A lot of people criticized Floyd Patterson, who was clearly protecting his heavyweight title. Cus D'Amato, who's later Mike Tyson's trainer and manager, was doing that by giving a guy making his pro debut a shot. But Rademacher knocked Floyd Patterson down. He eventually wound up getting knocked out, and at this point, people look back in history, and it's like a quirky kind of fun thing that happened in the history of boxing. And Rademacher actually took someone else's title shot. In this case, McGregor didn't take anyone else's shot. You know, like, I don't understand the point in criticizing after the fact a successful event when what Oscar should be, if I were Oscar, the only thing I'd be talking about is this amazing fight that's coming up September 16th, Triple G versus Canelo, Stephen A. I can't wait for it. I know you can't wait for it. Fight fans, that includes MMA fans. That includes Dana White, by the way.
I can't wait for
that fight. And if I were Oscar, I'd just be all of my breath. None of it would be wasted on anything other than Triple G and Canelo.